Aggarwal, thank you so much for joining me on ETimes. I've been waiting for this interview since a very long time. And thank you once again for joining me. I have some very interesting questions to ask you today. I want to start this interview by asking you straight up that you have time and again said that you always felt that you were not cut out for showbiz, stardom, etc. in this industry. I want to know what made you say that so often.
I'm a childhood actor, and acting is my second skin. But when I was doing social work, I was working with an NGO from Pakistan, and they said that what is the effect of media on the people? And they said that the media is affecting how the women and men think of today. And it's not doing any good. And they showed a scene of Devdas where Devdas hits the girl when he comes back home. When he says, "Mujhse shadi karo," and she says, "Nahi." So he hits her. And they said that, that this is what is framing the way men behave. And, so I was like, I was doing theater. I was like, working with the NSD guys in Delhi, in school, in college. But I was like, and I didn't like the way girls were portrayed in Hindi films. They were not powerful characters, they were just like pretty girls who dance a little bit, and look pretty and had no real mind. So I was against that. So I thought that I'll never do it. But then, when I heard the fact that this girl is an orphan who wants to make it on her own, I said, wow, this is a message I want to give out to all the girls of today. And that was one of the reasons. And it was also Mahesh Bhatt was an art film director at that time. So this was, I never thought of like, he was not a commercial film director. So I've always been into the art of things. And but Ashiki became a huge commercial hit, as luck would have it.
Anu, how did you juggle modeling and movies? उन दिनों में दोनों में बहुत demarcation था.
Yeah. Yeah. So the thing is that I didn't juggle at all. I was, I was, I was a model, and they said that I'm India's first supermodel. I started traveling. I started going abroad. I was in Paris, in fact, where I was going to sign up with an agency for special looks. And I came back home to pack when I ended up actually signing Ashiki. So the thing is that once I was in the movies, the funny thing was that I just suddenly realized that, how, in a certain sense, old fashioned, that I called it old fashioned, with all due respect to everyone and everything, but we were very behind the international scenario at that time. And also when I, first of all, when I was signed Ashiki, they were like my advertising director friends saying, Pagal hai. They were like, are you sure? Like you're going to work with the Hindi film. It was called the Hindi film business at that time. And I said, yeah, well, whatever. And they said, okay. But when I became such a big star with the Ashiki, and I was already modeling in any case, and I was already a well-paid model, highest paid model actually at that time. They started asking me, hey, listen, chal mere brand endorse kar le tu. It was as informal as that. And I ended up doing Anu Tazgi De De, Tata Ki Chai De De. Anu became a brand. And that's how, so I think that it worked really well because it was also, setting a completely new trend. It's like
You
a path breaker.
you capitalized on it rather well because as far as I remember, you charged a ridiculous amount for some Tata ad which wanted to curl up your hair. What's the story behind that?
Oh God, oh my God. Listen, by the way, you know what? I was just thinking before I was like brushing my hair, getting ready to talk to you. I said, Vicky से बात करनी है. I said, Vicky क्या पूछेगा? मैं पूछेगा 90s में और आज में क्या फर्क? So I said, the first thing I feel is that, my God, because I'm born with straight hair. I had nothing to do. I had to do nothing for it to look the way it does, right? This is a natural hair of mine. And today, it's trendy. Girls are getting their hair straightened, right? It's trendy to have straight hair, you know. And at that time, it was like, "Arey, ye kaise baal hai?" So, you know, they used to like cut curls and, you know, cut it and curl it, and short hair, curled hair. That was what was in fashion. And when I signed up, so they signed me up just before, like a year before Ashiki. They signed me up for Tata for Lakme shampoo, and Mrs. Tata said, "Arey, finally, when everything was getting finalized, she saw my picture. She says, 'What? This girl has straight hair.'" So then I started getting calls that, "Listen, you need to like cut your hair and curl it in curls, you know, cut it and step cut with curls." And I said, "Okay, how much extra are you going to pay me for that?" So I quoted some ridiculous amount, thinking that they'll say no. But eventually I didn't curl it and cut it in steps. I just cut it shorter. So I kept it straight and I cut it shorter.
And they paid
So
you.
yeah, that was a funny thing. Yeah, the paid, yeah.
Okay. Did your height sometimes come in the way in Bollywood because you're so tall and many of our heroes
Hmm.
have not been tall?
You know, the thing is that there were no heroes who would, I mean, I was too tall. Like, uh, Rahul was tall. Rahul was taller than I was.
Hmm.
So a lot of people who wanted to sign me ended up signing him because, you know, there was no other hero. One or two films, actually. There was a film in the South. So, you know, I did like Mani Ratnam's film, which was like a South film. It wasn't in the 90s, you know how. In the 90s, South films were avoided. Nobody was really looking at the South the way they are today, you know. But I ended up, so there was another director from the South who actually he died. So, you know, we didn't make the film, but he was a he was the guy who started, Sridevi started her first film, right? He was a really amazing guy. And so, you know, they signed me, and in that film I had like, the role was so amazing. Like, this girl eventually, it's a whole story of a girl gets married, and, you know, da 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 da, and then eventually it ends with her in a mental asylum, you know. So it was a really powerful role, powerful female role. But then they said they couldn't find anybody, and said, "Okay, chalo, Rahul Kushwaha sign kar lete hain." So yeah, there wasn't at that time. And at that time, you know, today, even if the girl's a little taller than the guy, it's okay. But at that time, it was like आंखों में चुभता था. अरे ये क्या है? It was just not acceptable, you know. So yeah.
तो ऐसी बहुत पिक्चरें होंगी कि आपको फिल्म मेकर्स ने वो रोल में इमेजिन ही नहीं किया होगा कि बस
नहीं, but the thing is,
बिकॉज हीरो
that's
शॉर्ट है
true.
तो अभी हीरोइन तो शॉर्ट ही चाहिए.
Yeah, you're right about that. But on the other hand, I think that those kind of films I would have not done myself in any case, because, you know, those are the run of the mill kind of films. So I ended up doing, like, I'm so, actually, I'm so, I keep on saying I'm so grateful. I'm just so grateful to be alive today. But I'm so grateful that at that time, you know, I got like directors who offer me some very different kind of roles. Like, you know, like with Mani Ratnam, it was a underworld queen, and they were all powerful
Hmm.
female characters, you know. Khalnaika was like, you know, a psycho killer. You know, he goes mad with her, with what happens in her life. The with Rakesh Roshan, it was a really cute.
Hmm.
That was a really really cute role
Yeah,
of Fanny.
yeah.
So I mean, yeah. So I ended up doing some really amazing, and then with the last film, Erotica, which was, I played a princess in that. Yeah, it was an avant-garde film which I've opened in Cannes Film Festival. in 1995, I think. Yeah, 94 we shot it. Yeah, 95 it opened. That was my last film. I was out. I was like, take a break.
Yeah. We know about the unfortunate accident that you met, but I really want to ask you one thing here. Uh, what made you go and become a monk? What was the real story behind? If I'm not wrong, I have heard that it had something to do with a broken relationship. Is it true?
Yeah, the thing is that the broken relationship, yes, it made, you know, it made me decide on many things different, you know, because I mean, I got really disappointed with the idea of love, with the relationship that I had. I was going to get married. That's my first relationship, long one, many years. And just like everything that it brought, I mean, it was so discouraging because it wasn't supportive to me at all, and it was just depressing in a certain sense. Um, I don't know, some things, you know how it is, life happens, and sometimes you don't have no answer to why it happened the way it did. So, yeah, but when I joined yoga, I thought it was going to be a sabbatical, just few months, I wasn't like leaving films forever in 95. There was also, I was offered a Hollywood film by International Creative Management, which was like the third largest management team in in Los Angeles. And I just like got into yoga thinking I'll take a sabbatical, tired from the film business, and wanting to know myself more. Who is Anu Aggarwal? Everyone's writing and saying Anu Aggarwal. Oh, she sneezed. She did this. Oh, she's having this affair. Oh, she's having that affair. Gosh, I mean, let's go on through. Like, I mean, I was hardly getting time to sleep even. I was like shooting or doing ads or doing MTV. I was doing so many different kind of things. Like I would be shooting, like I was doing Khalnaika in the day with a sari and this role. Then at night at 12 o'clock, I'm shooting MTV in a mill, wearing these funky clothes and saying, "Oi, oi, MTV," and talking. So it was just like, it was such a weird life. Sometimes I came home, I didn't even have, I was living alone. My parents weren't here. Nobody was here. My parents were in Delhi. And there were so many nights I went home, I slept hungry because there was nobody to, so it was like, it was so difficult, the life. And I think I was just taking a break. But the thing is that yoga just captured me, and and slowly and gradually, वो एक महीने के 4 महीने के 6 महीने के you know decades निकल गए, and to advance in that, then finally it was like I just want to serve the people, which I've always wanted to do. And I became a monk, shaved my head, and lived like that
So you were
for
saying
some
that was your
time.
first relationship. That was your first relationship.
That was my first relationship. Yes,
Okay.
the disappointment that came with my first
And
relationship.
after that, you never fell in love?
No, I didn't. I mean, it wasn't. I think it was an eye opener. Like I think I have had many things come to me when I was very, very young, and and this was like an eye opener when I was very young. That look, I mean, self love, love yourself. That's where it started. You know, like it's just not. You don't have to look for love outside you. You first of all find it within you. And then I started seeing that when you find self love within you, it just starts pouring from every direction to you. And that love that you look for from a man, that male, female, that's so limiting. Love has no limits. I found that, yeah.
So the other relationships didn't go along for a long time, and you never thought of marriage again?
I didn't know. I was always open, but like it just I think that I took off on this, development, self-development path and self-love and self-care. And when that becomes your first focus, then uh,
Right.
you really start to wonder. And then also, I was like, I always earned, right? I was always independent financially. So when you are financially always independent as a young girl, then you don't really need anybody to support you. And also, success that came gave me so much love coming from millions of people that I don't know. For me, it's been different. I know I do understand everybody's getting married, and I just like I'm so happy when I see people get married. It's always like from my heart. I'm like, oh God, I just hope this really works out for you. You know, Mera to nahi hua, but I hope it works out for you. So that's how it is. I think life just accepts how it happens.
I think what you're
There's
saying
no
is,
questioning.
I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but what you're saying is your first relationship, you loved that man more than you loved yourself. And later you realized that it's
Yeah,
not worth it.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're right about that. Yeah. So you're first of all, you have to love yourself, because what happens is that when you just like put the other person above everything, then your expectation also increases, no? Then you also expect कि वो ऐसा करेगा, वो फिर दुख होता है, ऐसा नहीं किया,
Hmm.
वैसा नहीं किया, ये नहीं, the all the misery starts, from that.
So yoga helped you to come out from that misery.
Yoga has helped me be alive today. Yoga
You are
is why
a
I'm alive.
legit yoga instructor
Yeah,
now.
because not just yoga instructor. Think about it. I had learned yoga just before the accident, lived for 2 years in this
Hmm.
yoga ashram, lived the
Hmm.
yogic lifestyle, did karma yoga, and worked in the admin over there. And like, so when I had the accident, it's like the patient became the mentor. So I have written like what is to be done, my own programs of healing, that this is so I was moving. There's a like, okay, so first of all, my toe didn't move because my leg was paralyzed. So first of all, I had to just like move the toe. It took me 2 months. So there's a certain asana which you do, which is actually, the wind blowing pose that you do with your toes, where you start to like
Yeah.
generate the energy
Yeah.
for it to bend.
Yeah.
And that I did धीरे 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 2 महीने के अंदर, that started. So that's where I started after the accident, literally from scratch. And I was bedridden. So how to walk, how to get each and every part, and slowly 3 months later, then I would say, okay, now this is done. Now the next thing is you work on your mind. I started also studying. I studied cognitive behavioral therapy. How do I get my mind back in shape? My mind, I had no memory, right? I had memory loss. I had cognitive loss. I had the hippocampus in my mind destroyed, in my brain destroyed.
That
So there
accident.
was so much of destruction. Yeah, there was so much of destruction in the body. I totally remade and reshaped, and that's love. I think this is like
You got a new life. You
starting.
got a new life, Anu. You got
I've
a
got
new
a new
life.
life. It's like the
And,
brain is
and
reframed and remodeled, and the body is remodeled. Everything is, it's a new life.
people still love you. Still love you so
Oh,
much
thank you.
that they are very
Thank
upset
you.
that your portions have been chopped off from Indian Idol. What's your state of mind on that?
Uh, the thing is that I am like really, I'm surprised too. I'm surprised too because I really look forward to the show. I don't do shows. I don't really watch reality shows. Pardon me for that, but I don't.
Hmm.
And I don't go. I don't appear in shows, and everybody can see that. I don't. But this was like I went because of my love for Ashiki, and to express my gratitude for Ashiki, that the team. It's because of the entire team that the film did the way it did. You know but so and the contestants are so young. Like there was this girl who they told me was in the ninth standard, and Nazar ke samne she sang that song. I was like ninth, and when I said, I complimented her because I complimented each of the contestants. My foundation, one of the main things is we work with the girls and to boost their self-confidence, to help them understand that they are goddesses. There's nothing in life that can defeat them if they decide it. You know, the woman power. This whole about women empowerment, everything. So it starts when you're a young girl. And I think that I thought that there was a lot to, I was so happy that there was a time that I could talk to these contestants and inspire them and motivate them. So, and which I did. But I my voice is not there. I don't know what happened. I really have no idea.
You didn't pick up the phone and call up Sony Channel to ask why they chopped off your portions?
You know how it is. It's like, of course, first of all, I thought I should. That's the first thing that came to my mind. And then the second thing that came to my mind was that, that each tragedy and each catastrophe in your life you should take as an opportunity. And I just decided that this is my biggest opportunity to let go and forgive. This is a great time that I could use the forgiveness principle, which I preach and which I am living as well, to just say, okay, it's okay, forget and forgive. And with the kind of reactions from the people, from my fans and everybody, it was amazing because they were so angry. They're still so angry. I'm still getting messages. But how could they do this? Because people could see I was sitting in the back. So they know I was there. And people know that Anu चुप नहीं बैठने वाली है, इसने जरूर कुछ ना कुछ तो बोला ही होगा, इसकी आवाज कहाँ है? So everybody knows that I did speak. Everybody knows. So I think that I just think that let me just give them something more amazing, like maybe give them maybe come and act or do something, come out in the public, and do something in the business that I am in as a professional that I've been in. So I think that this is an opportunity for me to get inspired to actually act,
Yeah,
again.
yeah. Actually, it became an opportunity. You realize the fan following that you have.
And so I just like, oh God, and again gratitude. I'm just, I'm like, thank you all every morning. I just wish everyone well
If
and thank everyone.
if Sony calls you again for a show, will you go as a guest?
I'll ask them that, are you going to cut me out? I'm not coming. I mean, no, of course. Look, I don't have grievances against people. I don't hold things against people. If they call me for another show, who knows what will happen at that time? I don't know when that will be. And but I guess I'll be careful. I'll be more careful. The life teaches you lessons. You just need to learn. You know. But I don't cut people out from life. I don't believe in that. So they must be having something. Something must have happened. Who knows? It's okay.
Whatever may be the reason,
Forgive
but
and forget.
Ashiki is
Yeah.
Rahul Roy and Anu Aggarwal, or Anu Aggarwal and Rahul Roy.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Ashiki doesn't happen
Yeah.
solo.
Yeah.
So, had you kept in touch with Rahul these years?
Yeah, we are off and on. Yeah, off and on. We're in touch.
वो ठीक नहीं था
Yeah.
बीच में.
He was. Yeah. He's come out of the dark patch. But
He had a very tough
we
time.
all go through something. We had a tough time. We all have. I had a very tough time. We all have
Yeah.
something or the other. We all have difficult lives. Who has an easy life? Yeah. Each life is full of challenges. It's just that when you are in the public eye, it gets highlighted that you have a problem. But everybody is going through some problem or the other. This is Kalyug chal raha hai. That's why I came up with this Anupan Yoga, which is like to raise the inner bar of happiness in people. And we can go into the minds and do that.
Anu, how is it financially? Because I'm asking you this question since you have done fewer movies, and
Right.
how is life on the financial front?
Listen, if life didn't move on the financial front, you won't be able to smile. It's as simple as that. So yeah, so I mean, like I think they say that God gives, and it's literally. But if you were to ask me specifically, it's yeah, I'm doing brilliantly well. I have God has provided somehow or the other, whether it has come through my parents, whether it has come through inheritance, whether it has come through good investments of the money that I earn, or has it come through a simple thinking and good living, and wishing people well. I think people don't realize that how wishing other people well, how it works for you. It just starts to solve all your problems.
It's
I don't
actually
know how
therapeutic.
it works. It's totally therapeutic, and it is also like helpful in every other way of life that you're
Yeah.
living. It betters your life in every way. Yeah. So I'm grateful. Yeah. I'm grateful I didn't have to worry about that. Like I don't have to worry. Otherwise I would be there, right? I would have been there.
Woman depiction in Bollywood. How is it today?
The interesting thing is the times have changed, right? And today I find, especially in the OTT platform, there's a lot of very, like, what one of the things that Bollywood has always has missed in a long time is just having like the current issues. Like what are people going through? What are the problems today? Rather than कुछ कहानियां बना के कि ये है
Hmm.
कहानी वो देखो love story. Yeah, love stories do well. Nothing against that. But the fact remains that the world is changing. And is our movies system, our movie business, our entertainment business, is it reflecting it? And we need to reflect it. And I find that is happening in OTT. There's a lot of like very amazing, fresh things that are coming up. So I think that it's a great time. It's an amazing time, and and also today you see a lot of films which are female centric, which wasn't the case in the 90s at all. Like Khalnaika was a shock to most people. कि कैसे ये picture बन गई, because that was like completely focused the story of a woman. She was the protagonist. So today it is interesting to see that we have really advanced, and we are moving forward. We have fresh things, and fresh ideas, and we are moving forward. And I think that, hats off to that. And I hope that we just keep going forward in this trend. Yeah.
Thank you, Anu. Thank you so much for talking to me. It was really lovely having you on eTimes.
Thank you. Thank you. Namaste.